Welcome, this is Mr. Fisher flipping third grade mathematics. We're going to do a lesson today about the force times tables. Before we get started though, I found this quote by Garfield. He says, "The most active thing about me is my imagination." I hope that I can find that same thing within my third graders, because you do have quite the great imaginations. Let's just put it to work and use it to make sure your multiplication gets up into your head. So today's agenda is actually for lesson 12. There's been a misunderstanding that we were doing this one lesson at a time, but we actually skip a couple lessons. Like on Monday I will be teaching lesson 10, and on Tuesday I'll be teaching lesson 11, but that leaves lesson 12 to be taught on Wednesday. So for those that are misunderstanding, these videos are actually for a couple days in advance. So when the students are able to come back to class, we're able to go through the lesson that they saw online and be able to go through it a little bit faster. This is lesson 12, and our lesson today is about the fours. For the plan for this week, I really want to make sure that the students understand that this homework is actually 2 days in the making. So you have Monday and Tuesday night to be able to do this night's homework. And then on Wednesday, you have a new lesson, which would be lesson 15 or 14. Yeah, 14, because it's a review for the week, and you'll be able to view that lesson on Wednesday and Thursday and be able to come back on Friday and talk about it. So as you can see, we are getting into the process, and it's going to take us about 4 weeks to get this down, but I am very, very thankful for the couple of people that came back and gave me some good feedback, and we're going to try and make sure that that feedback is adhered, especially down here, so that there's a homework sheet. I'm finding that that's probably the most critical point, and so I started out today's lesson plan by making sure I had a homework sheet pretty much pieced together, and then I'm going back through and making sure the video is there. So the rest of the day we're going to go through an introduction on the fours. We're going to model and hopefully give you some ideas on how fours can interrelate with fives, and then we'll do a couple problems together before I let you do the problems on your own. And at the end, I'll show you a couple apps, hopefully, if we have time. Okay, first off, fours. Fours times tables. Let's make this big so you guys can see it. Really does take a little bit more practice than twos and fives and tens. They're like nines. You really have to go through them to make sure you have them. So here's a couple ways that I've done it with the students. First of all, skip counting. By count bys, you really should be going through those daily. That's skip counting. Then with a partner or with a parent, guardian, you go back through and you do your mix-up times tables, so you don't get them all the same time. You don't memorize the order. 9 times 4, 36. 8 times 4, 32. And it's critical. Well, we're finding that it's very beneficial to also learn the division at the same time. So when you see the big number 12 divided by the small number 4, we know the answer is 3. And so practice, it's going to take a little bit, but you're going to see the benefit of being able to know 10 times 4 equals 40, and then turn around and know that 40 divided by 4 equals 10. Try that again. Skip counting, and here we go.
4 times 1
is 4.
4
times 2 is 8.
4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16.
I really would encourage you to find, if you can, a way for you to practice, either with skip counting, multiplying, or some other way.
Turn them all loose. Well, I don't do that. It's really a groovy zoo. Anyway, what the Simpsons said, it was a good chance to work on our fours in our head. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'll take a lion.
1 times 4.
He's got 4 legs and maybe roar.
Give me 2 camels. 2 times 4. 8 legs walking from the desert floor.
And that one's by Schoolhouse Rock. And I know you can find that online, and hopefully I can post it as a link, but we need to move on. We've got more to do. So let's go back to the rest of our lesson, multiply and divide. Let's model. Before we go through the process, I want to remind you that here is the process. You should have your notebook ready to write down 5 to 15 problems. Watch the video with me. Pause the video to write down your answers in your green notebook, and then bring it back on Wednesdays and Fridays to be ready to discuss your answers with your group on Wednesday for this lesson and Friday for the next video that will be available. So our objective today is to multiply and divide with 4 and look for patterns in multiplications, count bys, and solving problems. So think 4. Like the movie, think of 4 animals, or 4 legs on an animal. Excuse me. And before we get into that, there's a review problem. How many possible products can you get using any combination of 2 of these factors? And I want you to remember that products and factors are some of the vocabulary that we have been using lately. Product is the answer, and factors are the 2 multipliers that we're going to be using. So here's a hint. We're going to have this be our warm-up. So 2 times, let's just type it in, 2 times 5. Correct. We put 5 right there. And what does 2 times 5 equal? 10. Now, if you notice, I did this on purpose, but you have 2.5 equals 10. 2 asterisks 5 equals 10. And 2x 5 equals 10. And what do these 3 symbols all represent? That's correct. They're all multiplication. But I wanted you guys to see that this right here is a factor. And 5 is a factor. But this is the product. So 10 is a product. It's the answer when you get to multiplication. Okay? Now, one way that I've been able to teach the students, and it's been very effective, is to see all the multiples or factors, or let's just say it correctly, multiples of 2. I push enter and it will show me all the multiples of 2. And so I can actually find 2 times 5 by counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Here's our first problem. I want you to write this one on your notebook. Pause it. Jake ran around a 2-mile track 3 times. Luke ran around the 2-mile track 5 times. The boys said together they ran 16 miles. Are the boys right? Explain. Now, in class, we will go ahead and erase this to see if you have the right answer. So, problem number 1 is this problem. Next, we're going to skip clear over to here, and we want to model the math board. Let's look at the fours. If we count off 1, 2, 3, 4, we can see that 1 times 4 equals 4. Well, we can count up, let's change the color, another 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we get 8. Count up another 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we get 12. Count up another 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we get 16. Count up another 4, we get up to 20. Now right off the bat I see a couple patterns, but let's go a couple more, see if you guys can recognize some of the patterns. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4 goes over to 32. And let's do two more sets. Let's do black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 36. I almost did that one wrong. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, if we just look at our drawing over here on the side, we see that it goes 4, 8, 12, 16. So if we write our answers, we would have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And of course that's 2, 3, 4, 5. All times 4. And then equals. Feel like I'm doing a ladder right there. Some of the patterns you might also see include, look at this pattern, 4, 8, then it goes 2, 6, 0. Then what it goes back to is 4, 8, 2. In the ones column, it continues. If you can see that, it goes to 24, which is a 4. I'm going to have to do it with 24, 28, 32, 36, and 40. So if you look in the ones column, 4, 8, 2, 6, 0, it continues the pattern. 4, 8, 2, 6, 0. So that's just in the ones column. You might see some other patterns. Now, we want to see one. Well, let's do it. Let's do a 4 times. Let's make it 4 times 5. And we see that it equals 20. We check our answer. We get it correct. But what if I did it kind of 4 times 3, and I really thought that that was 11. We check our answer, try again. And if you notice, it's up here. 4, we go down. 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. And on that third line down, it is 12. So I'm going to change that to 12 and check my answer. So there's something you can be thinking about. Here's the next question I'd like you guys to do. How many legs are on 6 horses? So how many legs are on 6 horses? You can use this to help you figure out this answer. So this is question number 2. How many legs are on 6 horses? You find the total by starting with the 5th count by and then counting up from there. So question number 2, see if you can figure out this answer. And draw a picture. I'd like to see 6 horses' legs on your picture because drawing is very critical in being able to solve math. Okay, problem number 3. How many sides are 8 quadrilaterals? First of all, we need to figure out what a quadrilateral is. Quadrilateral is a shape with 4 sides. And usually those sides are like so. We find the total by starting with the 5th count by and counting up from there. So what they're trying to do is show you that there is a easy way to remember how to count by 4s. If you already know 5 times 4, you know 5 times 4 equals 20. Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shapes. So we can start with 20 and then we can count up from there. So 5 times 4 is equals 20. So we can go 20 and then I'm going to use my fingers. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So I could count by my fingers or I can count by 4s. 20 plus 4 is 24 plus 4 more is 28. Okay, so problem number 3. Give yourself a second, pause it. Now let's check the answer. On this problem, I wanted you guys to see how the answer looks. So problem number 3 should be correct when you get to class. Our answer says 20, 24, 28, 32. So the total of the 8 quadrilaterals is 32. Another way you could have written that would be 8 times 4 equals 32. So there's the multiplication problem. We did it by count bys. Okay, last but not least, we got to check to see if Puzzled Penguin is correct. So this is question number 4. Today I had to find 8 times 4. I didn't know the answer, but I figured it out by combining 2 multiplications. I did know. I knew 5 times 2 equals 10. That's correct. 3 times 2 equals 6. And then he added them. 10 plus 6 equals 16. And he figured that was 8 times 4. Is he correct? If he's correct, say yes. If he's not correct, push or say no and tell us why he's incorrect. Poor Puzzled Penguin. Let's go ahead and look the answer because I want you to see the wording of this answer. So it should look similar on your paper. So if you haven't pushed pause, you better push pause so you can write down the answer. And then push play. Okay, the answer. He did not do it correct. It should have been 5 times 4 equals 20. And 3 times 4 equals 12. 20 plus 12 equals 32. Well, in class, you're going to come and we're going to go back through the math board and we're going to look at some of the patterns that you might see. But I'm also going to make sure you understand how to multiply using your fingers. So 3 times 4, if you hold up your thumb and your 2 fingers, you can count by 4s. 4, 8, 12. And we know that 3 times 4 is 12. Now we've been used to using our fingers to count by 5s, but we're going to be switching that so you can count by other numbers also. And it's just putting your brain in the frame of mind to count in that sequence. So here's the multiplication by 4s, and you can actually do this with your fingers. And I would suggest you pause the video and you practice it. 1 times 4 is 4. Then your second finger, 8. Third finger, 12. Fourth finger, 16. Fifth finger, 20. And so you can actually have two hands up and count all the way to 40 by fours. So there's a look at the lesson that we will do in class. And let's go to homework next. Your sheet. We're on question number 5. Well, before we get to question number 5, this is supposed to be going home on Wednesday. This is a check sheet for 3s and 4s. Remember, if you fold it along the line, you can actually fold it into 4 parts, and then you can give it to somebody else and they can test you to see if you have your 3s multiplying, 3s dividing, 4s multiplying, or 4s dividing. And they can actually interswitch that, but it's a chance for you to practice that. There we go. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay. Pause it there for a second. The homework sheet that I'll be making will include those 9 problems. So we were on 4, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And we won't end on an uneven number. So I've got another couple problems. And this one is on page 75. Let's look at page 75. Okay, to do this one, find the area of the large rectangle by finding the areas of the 2 smaller rectangles and adding them together. Let's see if we can't get this to show us. Okay, there's the problem. Pause it, and then I'm going to explain how you can do this. We want to do 3 and 4, and we want to figure out what that is. And I would suggest you color in those squares so you know that this mouse does not want to go in a square. That total equals 20. Then you add 3 times 4 to that, so you have 20 plus 12. And this is one strategy you can use to put them all together.